load.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott. Paul?
Well, I think that we've covered most of the major points already. It's important to think of the Crusades as defensive activities. They are not offensive. They were never supposed to be offensive. They were never supposed to be about conversion. They were the first great Western counterattack against Islam. They weren't the first counterattack against Islam, as we mentioned earlier in the show. The Byzantines had fought back, the Italians had fought back, the Spanish had fought back. But these were the first great Western counterattacks against Islamic aggression, and the first one that was centrally directed by the Pope. For anyone who believes that human beings of whatever faith or ethnic background or whatever have a right to defend themselves against aggression, if that's what you believe, and most people do when pressed, then I don't see how you can condemn the principle of the Crusades. You can condemn this or that thing that happened in the course of them, but you can't condemn the principle because they were an act of self-defense and an act of love, as we've also said, on behalf of the Crusaders for those that they were trying to defend. The Crusades, we mentioned something earlier in the show that we didn't get time to follow up on. There was really only one truly successful crusade, and that was the first one. The Third Crusade was also partially successful. The rest of them were pretty much failures. And as a venture considered as a whole, given its own aims of recovering the Holy Land and protecting Eastern Christians, the Crusades really have to be considered a failure, because in the end, Catholic Christians lost the Holy Land and were driven out of the territories that they had tried to defend. But they also need to be considered as a success in the sense that by creating a counterattack, by driving Islam back for a little while, they managed to buy Western Europe, Christian Catholic Europe, time to grow up. So that by the time the Crusades had pretty definitively failed by the 15th century, Western Europe was strong enough to defend itself and to preserve its own Christian way of life. Temporary success, but they did give Western Europe time to survive. And I think, Regis, you brought up something that is very important that we were talking about during the break. As modern people, we need to look back at our ancestors and look at what they did. Look at the fact that they gave up their careers, their treasure, and in very many cases, their lives. And recognize that as Catholic Christians, we believe that we will meet these people someday. Very many of these people died for their faith, which makes them automatically a martyr, which makes them a saint, if I understand my theology correctly. So if we are fortunate enough to get to heaven ourselves, we will meet them someday, and they will tell us what they did and ask us what we have done in their defense. And I hope that we all have a good answer to give to that question.
Thank you. Thank you. We've been talking to Dr. Paul Crawford. If you've been interested in the subject that we've been discussing today, the Crusades, you need to go to faithandreason.com or just ask us. The 4 myths of the Crusade are available to download, or we'll send them to you. I want to invite you to be a part of Franciscan University's mission. Our mission is to transform the world through the students and the people that we educate and form. Come and be a part of this education and this life here on our campus by going for a degree or going online in our distance education. Or join us at one of our summer conferences or pilgrimages to holy shrines like the Holy Land. Or go to faithandreason.com and be equipped with all the tools you need to be a part of the new evangelization. And until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you.
To download the free handout on today's topic, go to faithandreason.com. Email your request for the handout to presents@franciscan.edu. At faithandreason.com, you can also purchase past episodes of Franciscan University Presents, or request today's free handout and purchase past programs by calling 888-333-0381. That's 888-333-0381, or call 740-283-6357.